Ayanna and I, over the last few weeks, have been talking to each other more, and I've been exploring who she is as a person, as a human being, not only as a mother to her son Elijah and her other children, but also as an individual. And Sabrina, I wanted to ask you, so much of what we know about you is through Trayvon, but what were some of your hopes and dreams before Trayvon was killed?
My hopes and dreams, I can't tell you that I missed out on life. I enjoyed my life, and I tell people all the time, my life was 95% happy. I really, really enjoyed my life. And then, the interruption came when Trayvon was killed from my happy life, and then I became sad and disappointed. But by the same token, I try to live my life as happy as possible, as enjoyable as possible, because when Trayvon was first shot and killed, I felt like I would never be happy again. I felt like I was always going to be sad the rest of my life, and I found myself like in a space that I had never been in. Like, I've lost family members, but this was something like I couldn't explain, and I didn't know how to get back up once I had fallen down. And so I don't know. I didn't really look past what was happening, like my tragedy that I went through. I didn't look past that because I didn't see anything else. All I saw was disappointment, was hurt, was pain, was the hatred of the world. I didn't really see the supporters at the time. It wasn't until I was in New York that I actually saw supporters. I knew people were posting things on social media saying how strong I was, and I know the media was saying, how strong I was, but I really didn't feel it until I went to New York to the Million Hoodie rally, and I was only there because Reverend Al Sharpton with Politics Nation, he was the last interview we did, and he asked that we go over to Union Square Park and just thank the people. And when we got there and we got out of the vehicles, we saw so many people there, cheering us on and everything. I was like, oh my God. This was one
Hmm.
17-year-old that was in Sanford, Florida, that was from Miami. It was like, how? Like, how does all these people know, they knew what was going on, and they was in support of, an arrest coming, because at that time we didn't have an arrest. It was just, I don't know. I think it was overwhelming. I think it was just too much for me. And, it's nothing that you can expect. It's nothing that you can prepare for. But I just knew that I had to be the voice for my son. And so, as moms, we know you don't mess with our children. That's one quick way to get us to stand up tall, and for us to be strong, is when you mess with our children. And so I just felt like Trayvon wasn't here to speak for himself, so I had to become his spokesperson.
All three of you are doing this work in such profound ways. I mean, Sabrina with Mothers of the Movement, Ayanna with your philanthropy and the foundation and Elijah Wan's name, and Shalisa, you've raised $40 million dollars to build a community center in your son's memory. I mean, Sabrina, you call it turning pain into purpose. Is that how you describe it, Shalisa?
Absolutely. Because I had a choice. It was either sit down and give up, or stand up and show my living son that it was not the end of the world, and that mom would be here to fight for him and his brother. Um, so it's strength. It's all those things that people label, give us, but it's also just, for me, it wasn't I didn't have a choice, because I don't believe in giving up. I tell people all the time, I'm a believer in God, and so I was like, I'm way too competitive. If I give up, the devil wins. And so, for me, it was, I refuse. I can't let him take me out like this. He stole one. He wasn't going to get the rest of me, because that was a part of me that he took. So it is, it was necessary for me. And it's also a part of healing that I see. For me, everybody's path to healing is very different. But for me, it was I can wallow in this pain and this grief, or I can get up and do something with it. So take that energy and redirect it. And particularly when it comes to gun violence, um, especially when you're dealing with kids, the first thing they want to do is retaliate. And I had to show them that there's a different way to retaliate, because while I lost my son, if I allow someone else or even myself to try to go after the killer and steal them, their life, neither family won, so
Mm.
in any situation, neither family wins, right? Because we got one family that's visiting their loved one at a gravesite, and another family who's visiting their loved one in a prison. So,
That
it,
takes an overwhelming amount of grace. It's something that all three of you have spoken about, this ability to be able to, I don't know, for lack of a better term, forgive those who took your sons' lives away. Ayanna, is that how you would describe it?
Yes. Um, and the forgiving is definitely, um, that in and of itself is a choice. And even though the words have been spoken of I forgive him, it's still a daily process. It's not a done deal. It's something that has to repeat itself daily, because otherwise the here and now and how you're feeling, that sneaks up on you. I call it, I've shared with Shalisa before that sometimes I feel sucker punched. There are days to where I'm actually feeling heavy, right? So I can handle that because I know how I'm feeling. But there's other times that everything seems, normal. I'm sitting here laughing and talking with you guys, and then I'll think of something, and all of a sudden I'm right, no warning, no nothing. And so those sucker punch moments can definitely affect, the forgiving. And so it is a choice. It's a daily choice. It's not an automatic, process. And I also kind of want to touch on, what Miss Sabrina was saying with the choosing to be happy. Um, I can't speak for the other mothers, but for me, there was a level of feeling guilty for being happy. Initially, because we feel like, um, at some sense, how we're feeling, everybody should get it, right? And so I would get angry that my child is gone, and y'all in the kitchen cooking and laughing and talking like nothing happened. Like, what? Why y'all in the kitchen, kicking it and whatever? And the only reason I'm breathing is because it's an automatic response, right? Um, and so once I got over being angry about everybody else's life going on and the world continuing without my baby, a little part of me felt guilty about, um, being happy and wanted to laugh, because I kind of felt like I was betraying my baby. And so for me personally, that was another process that I had to, work through.